Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mountainside Podcast. Our guest for this episode is the 2021 Pan American Combat Sambo gold medalist, Zac Haynes. Zac has also won multiple titles across the U.S. as an amateur mixed martial artist. He was a D3 collegiate All-American wrestler. He has a degree in environmental policy and is an outdoor enthusiast. I thoroughly enjoyed having Zac in to record this episode where we talked about some of his adventures in life and what he's accomplished. I hope you enjoy our conversation.
Yeah, you got a chatty kitty. So you have a cat too?
Yeah, my cat's like a little over one.
That's
when she talks, she's either asking to go outside. She just likes to lay in the sun, or she's asking to get fed. I take her camping with me, so she camps. She's hiked 14ers.
That's amazing.
Take her on take her on paddle boards and stuff. Yeah, she kills it.
Shit,
yeah,
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, she does pretty well, so she enjoys it. I got to make sure she doesn't really like being on the leash.
That's one cool cat.
She doesn't like being on the leash though. So like,
what cat does though?
So what I do is I still put the leash on, but I won't hold it. She doesn't like being like told which way to go. Yeah. But if I walk away, she'll follow me all the way up the mountain.
Oh, that is so
yeah.
cute. There's like cats that are famous on Instagram for that kind of stuff. You should make her an Instagram page.
I know. I wish I was better with social media.
It's hard to care about social media, you know? So
for real.
It is.
I have a hard time with it. Like the only reason I keep up with it is literally for this podcast and like my personal page and all that shit. So,
well, marketing yourself's important, and like that's like the modern way to do it. You know.
But there is a lot of good shit that comes out of it too. It's put me in touch with a ton of people. Like we honestly probably wouldn't have an audience if it wasn't for that. If it wasn't for like dudes like Cameron Haynes like sharing the podcast on Instagram.
Right.
Like overnight we had like, thousands of downloads just from him mentioning it. Like,
wow, check
this out.
Yeah.
That's all it took.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And hopefully we're retaining all of you if you're listening to this now. But,
you better still
but
be
let's
here.
go ahead and start this thing.
No, man, I'm looking forward to talking, man.
Cool, man. Yeah. I'm stoked to sit down with you just because we know each other, but we don't. You know what I mean? And this is the best way to get to know somebody for sure.
Yeah.
So,
without a doubt.
Thanks for coming in, man. Thanks for coming down the mountain. I got to say congratulations, too, on the gold medal.
Thanks, Bobby. I appreciate having me.
Yeah, man. I'm stoked to have you in here. How's life?
It's going well, man. I stay busy. My days tend to start at 4 a.m. I get out of bed and I drive up from Boulder up to Copper Mountain. So it's a little over like 80 miles. And then, I work as a water biologist for one of the water treatment facilities up there. And then after that, I go to the gym for a couple hours. And then I drive back home, and some days I go to the gym in the mountains. Other days I drive down past Boulder all the way to like southeast Denver, Aurora area, and I go to a boxing gym there. That's kind of been one of my main disciplines that I've been focused in. So,
yeah, no, that's a busy life, and that's, man, it's crazy. Like we talked to a lot of fighters on this show, and just coming up and what the guys have to go through, like working a full-time job and training at the same time, or training and living off of Top Ramen noodles, you know what I mean? It's insane to me that there's not some sort of like scholar program to get into it, or even at that level, you know what I mean? And it's such a disciplined sport. Like you always have to be ready for that phone call. Yeah.
Well, for me, I got into MMA, but it was while I was starting a master's degree. So I had wrestled most of my life through college.
Do me a favor, just pull that mic just a little bit closer. There you go. Yeah.
So I wrestled most of my life all the way through college. And after I finished, I became an All-American. I stayed on to coach my little cousin who had gotten the transfer. So I was like, hey, man, if you come and wrestle for me, we'll graduate. You'll graduate with your bachelor's. I'll graduate with my master's same year. So that was kind of our goal. And he worked really hard. He did great in wrestling. And then when I was in my master's program, I'd always had school and sports. So I didn't really know how to balance that school workload without and I was coaching, but I didn't have anything for me. So I started training martial arts as like a way to help balance that. And then really quickly I realized that all my free time was in the morning. So I was starting my day off in that combative state. And I was like, man, now I gotta go to the library for a few hours, and then I gotta coach some kids,
Right.
and then I gotta go to class. So
I gotta keep my shit together during
all day, yeah. So I actually went across the way to the Guitar Center and bought a ukulele. And like every day I would start with the ukulele, I'd go to practice, and then I'd play the ukulele again, and then I would go and start my day.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like gone with me.
Meditation through music or something, right?
It's traveled with me to all the countries I've been to. I play it before
Hell yeah.
a tournament. I play it after a tournament because it just
Dope.
helps bring me, like, even if it's only for 15, 20 minutes, you know. I like go somewhere by myself and just like, I'm not big on playing in front of people, but it's something that helps calm me down, you know.
Yeah. Man, they're such a badass little instrument too. Like, and they're
Oh, man.
pretty inexpensive. Like,
Yeah, my first one was
my son
35
wanted
bucks.
one. You know, he's a big 21 Pilots fan, and
Yeah.
like, so he got super into that, and he was like gonna play in the talent show. So we have one laying around the house, and there's always somebody playing it, and it's pretty easy to pick up because it's just four strings. So
Yep.
how many chords can you have with that? Not that many, right?
It's basically the same, like 5 chords,
Yeah.
just different measures of it, you know. But yeah, it's fun. I can play like probably 30 or 40 songs. I write some of my own too. Just you play with it enough, you just start to like find riffs and harmonies that like you like, you know. So
and it's easy to travel with, right? I mean, it's
yeah, most airlines don't even like consider it a carry-on type item. Like they're just like
they're like, oh, this is my purse. No, it's
they
my
like
ukulele.
they like ask me to play, and I never do, but they actually asked me to play. So you congratulated me in the beginning. It's for combat sambo. That's kind of my primary focus now in martial arts. I like cage fighting, but I feel like there's a different mindset that you bring to getting into a cage with someone in front of like this arena full of people that are just cheering you on. It's like it's primal, you know. Sambo isn't like that. You're at a tournament with 15 plus other countries. There's one representative from every country, so there's this respect among everyone because we know that like, hey, like you're a lot of countries, it's a gauntlet to even be there. So you're like, wow, like you're battle tested, you know.
Yeah.
And I just like that sense of like you're hugging people before the fight, you're hugging people after. Like the guy that I beat in the semifinals leading up to the finals, he was wearing my gloves when he fought me.
Really?
Yeah. And the gloves that I beat him in, he had worn the previous round because his coaches came up and asked if we can borrow gear. So like that's kind of what I like about it. It's just like it brings these people together that, you know, otherwise would have never even encountered each other, you know.
And you had to go down to Colombia for that, right?
Yeah, we were down there with most of the Pan American countries.
Nice.
And, you know.
Was that a televised thing? Because I totally missed it. Like, we have some mutual friends, and you know, some of them are your family actually, which is super cool. So shout out to RJ.
Yeah. Thanks for putting this together, man.
RJ, but you know, I don't know much about sambo just because it's not a very it's not very publicized. So was that like a televised event? Could you watch it or?
So you could watch it. So it's not popular here in the United States. In the rest of the world, it's actually very popular. Like Eastern Europe, this is like their equivalent of basketball. You know what I mean? Like everybody's like, oh, it's sambo. Like they know those stars. Those are who they gravitate towards.
Okay.
So it's not big here because of where it's popular. It's a Russian sport, you know.
Sure.
Developed early Soviet Union for like special operations in order to like hand-to-hand. Sambo translates to self-defense without weapons. Like that's what it means. So the rules are different. So it's basically a combination of like judo, Muay Thai, and more like leadway, like because you can headbutt and elbow and do some nasty stuff.
Yeah.
But
there's choke submissions and arms and joints and that sort of thing, right? Legs,
so everything you can, you know. So there's two main styles: sport and combat. Sport is more of like the pretty, like big throws and like everybody's like, oh wow. Combat sambo is more raw. Like these guys are just, we get in there and we get after it. You know, there's not much playing around.
Man, I thought I saw something just because I was doing a little bit of homework on it, and I thought I saw some dudes doing it blindfolded too. Like, is there a blind sambo?
So
like,
there is blind sambo. Shout out to the blind sambists, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
dope.
They're
So is I'm sorry, is that a special, like, I don't know, is that a special Olympics type thing where they're
They only
actually
can-
blind, or are they blindfolding themselves?
So since it's Russian, I don't know if they do Special Olympics.
Yeah.
But they only compete against each other.
Okay.
Which is, for as a wrestler, you compete against blind
look at
guys.
this shit. Anna's got it pulled up right here.
Yeah.
Could you imagine wrestling blind? I've closed my eyes in the middle of like something, and it's definitely a flow state, but
it is, but so in combat, I assume the reason their eyes are covered is so they don't accidentally poke each other in the eyes. Yeah. Because you can't really see what you're like, because this is going to be sport, I assume. But yeah, they're doing awesome things. This was actually the first year they have female combat sambo.
Okay.
So it was.
That was the other thing I was going to ask you.
I love that.
Dude, they get after it. These. So before that, it was just sport for women. But they were so dominant, and they put on such great shows at the high level tournaments that they were like, let's make it combat for them too. And I'll tell you what, those girls, they threw down at each other. Oh, I bet. Even if they didn't really have much technique, they had no problem just throwing and like. So it was cool to see that, Yeah. But I wish it was a bigger thing in the United States. I think it's going to grow in the United States. Just got approved by the IOC to be in the Olympics.
Yeah, that's dope.
So, we already have people coming out of the woodworks who are like trying to get in because now it's,
considered an Olympic sport.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, they just want the participation trophy of saying that they got to be there and they got to do things. But like, that's not what we're about here, USA Sambo. We're trying to go to Russia, win the world championships, and have them play the national anthem. That's what we want.
That's so dope.
That's what we're chasing.
Rock and roll.
Yeah. And yeah, like we were just down there in Colombia, and we had a total of 8 guys out of a potential 12, and we took first in the sports style as a team. We took second in combat as a team, and we actually were tied for first in combat, but the tiebreaker is who had more competitors, and we only had 4 competitors. And the other team had 6 competitors. Okay. So they got the win on criteria. So, we're ready. We're trying to put together a more complete team for the World Championships and then, put together a nice run.
That's awesome, man. It's definitely something that I could get into. I mean, it's basically an Olympic form of the UFC. Not really the UFC. I guess more of like wrestling meets UFC because you can still choke people. I mean, you guys are still kicking, right? Like leg kicks are legal.
You should put on some combat sambo. I wish I had posted my highlights today on my Instagram, but I haven't posted it yet.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to tell you is you should make a highlight reel of just your stuff from the collegiate level, and we're going to dive into all that here in a minute. But like collegiate wrestling, MMA, and then you've been competing in Samba for quite a while now, right? Like 3 years?
So I would say about 3 years. 2018 was probably the first year that I thought about competing in it because I started in martial arts in 2016.
Okay.
Like mid-September kind of. And what I fell in love with was that I was an all-American wrestler, thought I was a bad dude, And then I go into this gym and I'm getting ragdolled by everybody. Like, shout out to Danny Myra and Pat Sabatini. Those dudes used to kick my ass every single day. And that's how I got better because, Danny choked me out with a triangle choke 1,000 times before I learned not to put my arm in the center. And then once I learned that, he started ripping my arm off for not putting it where he wanted it, And that's how I got better, Danny's a black belt. He's got a gym back east in Bucks County with his buddy. So if you're listening,
so are there belt ranks in this? That was another thing that I had a question on because
they just added that actually.
Okay,
so there is now. So before it was just you're a sambist and then there's a master of. So in order to be a master of, you have to be world champion. And it has to be recognized by the head federation. Like you can't just be like, oh, I'm the best. It's like no, like demonstrate it through action. Okay. So that's what I love about Sambo too, is like there is no playing around. You watch MMA fights, guys will play around for the first 3 minutes of a 5-minute round, and then they come out timid in the second round. We do 1 5-minute round. We're on a wrestling mat, like as you guys could see, and so
there's out of bounds.
And it's unfortunate because guys run away. I ran into that problem in the finals. Was I started landing some big shots on this guy, and any chance I started to get close enough, he would just go out of bounds. But in Sambo, there's a penalty for that. Okay. So if you're being passive, the first time's a warning, second time's a point, third time's a point, then it's 2 points, and the next time you lose because you're supposed to be engaging in combat. You can't run away, you know.
And what does the judging system look like? Is it like multiple judges with scorecards, just like boxing, or?
So that's So the way that the refereeing works is it's one guy or female is out there reffing you. Then there's a side judge who's like involved, but you can see the side judge say one thing and the person on the mat say one thing, and they go with the person on the mat. You know. And there's plenty of times where you don't see them even consult. Like, you'll see the side judge say 4 points, and then you'll see the person give 2 points, and they only give 2 points. So
it's scored like wrestling then?
It is scored like wrestling.
Okay.
It's same as like freestyle. If you're up by 8 points, it's like a technical finish, you know. The way you score is a lot different. So since there aren't any judges, they're not counting punches and being like, oh, you're this scoring you points like it does in MMA.
Right.
It scores you nothing in Sambo. You can be destroying a guy and him hit you with one throw to your back and he's up 4-0 and you're kicking his ass. But, you know, as far as in combat Sambo goes, you were kicking his ass, but then he threw you on the ground. This is supposed to be self-defense without weapons. Well, once I got you on the ground, I'm probably going to be able to kill you.
Right.
You know, so that's like how, like, you know, they don't let you do much ground and pound on the ground either. So you take somebody down, you hit them clean a few times, and they're going to stand you back up. If somebody has a triangle choke on you and you go to pick them up, if you pick them up a few inches off the ground, they'll blow the whistle and they'll stand you back up. So it's meant to be high paced. So you get guys and they just come out.
The guys are super athletic too. Like, I was watching them just do warm ups and they were doing full on like gymnastics, like front flips, like all kinds of crazy stuff like that.
Judo?
Are you a gymnast in your background at all?
I wish I was more flexible. I actually, my goddaughter is, and she's a high level one. She actually has a goal of going to the 2024 Olympics. So it'd be
dope if you guys could go together.
It would be a cool family reunion for, you know, everybody to show up in Paris. But yeah, so when she started, I actually asked her coaches how I could work on my own flexibility, and I've gotten better, but it's just not my style. I'm more acrobatic than a gymnast, you know.
Okay.
I'll flip around and stuff, but it's not gonna be graceful.
Right.
You know,
it doesn't really have to be in a combat sport,
Yeah,
right? As long as you can get point A to point B or whatever that geometry is,
exactly.
you should be able to connect or throw somebody. So what are the biggest points that you can score? Is it from a throw or a takedown, or
a throw is probably the biggest that you can score. So the way you can score a takedown is you can hit a nice throw, which is you clear your hips and the guy ends up on his back. So back or hips, It'll be 4 points. If you just take a guy down with like a nice throw, but he just goes to his knees or something and you get behind him, 2 points. If you like shoot like a typical wrestling shot, you'll only get 1 point.
Oh, really?
But there's also a rule that you're not allowed to touch your knee before you engage in a grip. So if I do a normal penetration shot as a wrestler and then grab the legs and run them through on a double leg, it's no points.
Really?
So it has to be more of a blast.
That's tricky.
It has to be more of like a blast.
Especially if you have a wrestling mindset, right? Because like
it was an adjustment for me, you know. And when I started in 2018, I played Sambo a lot more like a wrestler.
Yeah.
But now, you know, in the last few years, I've gotten just really into it, watching film. You know, two of the probably the most famous combat Sambists. You have Khabib, was a world champion in combat Sambo, and Fedor Emelianenko was a combat Sambo
two
world
studs,
champion.
man.
So, and it's because it's high paced and you have to be in control. Because like I said,
that's how you win, right? By being in control.
Yeah, because like I said, you could be beating a guy up for 4 minutes and him throw you once and then you lose.
Right.
You know, so in combat.
So is our punches, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but our
good.
punches and kicks, are those more diversion tactics then, I guess, is what you would call them?
Well, so you can win by
match?
knockout.
Okay.
So if you knock a guy out, you know, if he knocks him out cold, the fight's over. But he gets a 10 count. So you can drop a guy and he gets a 10 count. Now, you also get 4 points for a knockdown. So it's almost the same as a big throw if you can drop a guy.
Sure.
And we're wearing 4-ounce gloves, so guys are throwing heat, you know.
Yeah.
And it's only 5 minutes, and they know they can go out of bounds for a break, or they can mess with their gi, and you get blood time. So like they know that there's breaks if you know, spit your mouthpiece out. Like,
Right.
you know, the guy I fought in the finals.
Tactics, dirty tactics, right?
Yeah, the guy I fought in the finals from Venezuela, I worked his body really good the whole fight, and I got him real good with an up kick to like the sternum as he went out of bounds, and he turned around and I could tell that he was hurt. And he looked over at me, and I looked at him, and just kind of nodded a little bit. And he opens his kirka and unties his belt, and like takes a few-minute break. And like the commentator's like, "Oh, here we go again."
Yeah.
Like I'm like, "Come on, man."
Right.
Come on.
But yeah, so there's plenty of ways. You can get a pin too. You hold a guy for 10 seconds flat, chest to chest. You get 2 points.
Nice.
And that's basically it, though. Like, you can finish by submission, but for the most part, you're going to go 5 minutes and just throw down.
That's dope.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a mix of just a lot of different things. Like I might do okay at it. I feel like like not at your level by any means, but like that's kind of how I do jiu-jitsu. Like I'm not punching anybody, but my hand might slip occasionally, or like,
yeah,
you know, or those thoughts roll through my head is like, this is where I would elbow somebody. Probably. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
man.
So are elbows legal and that sort of thing, or is it fists and shins only?
So in combat, you can punch, kick, knee, elbow, and headbutt.
Okay.
So basically anything goes.
Pretty wide open. Yeah.
You know, and up until, I want to say 10 years ago, but it could have been more recent, you could kick to the groin too.
Wow.
But they cleaned that up because they were trying to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
Because it really is self-defense without weapons.
Yeah.
And like when I teach female self-defense classes, I teach
That's
technique.
the go-to move,
I teach
right?
technique, and they'll be like, "Well, if you could tell me one thing to do, what should I do?" I'm like, "Hit him in the balls.
Yeah.
As soon as you can, hit him in the balls and just run. Don't try to fight him. Like just hit him and go." I'm like, and they were really? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know. So
That or the eyes, man.
that too.
Yeah.
If he can get you on the ground, eyes. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically anything goes. It's a lot of fun.
Was it strange for you just because me looking at it and only knowing what I know about martial arts and combat sports and what I've been brought up on, you know, having the gi top with the shorts, I was like, what is going on here the first time I saw it? You know, like, was that a little strange to be in that?
I would say yes, but I'm a wrestler.
You don't think about that, yeah.
I'm a wrestler, and we wore singlets, so it's
yeah,
like,
that's even worse.
Yeah,
almost.
so
right?
like shorts and a kirka sounds good.
You might
to
as
me.
well go out there naked like Roman Greco
Yeah,
style.
I was
right?
like, I'm like, this is all right. It took some getting used to. So fortunately, I had competed in the 2019 Pan Ams too, which were down in Dominican Republic. And when you travel to countries in South America, very rarely do these venues have air conditioning, so it's hot. And since I'd been there in 2019, I like remembered how hot it was. So leading up to this tournament, when I would go to my boxing gym in Denver, it's over 100 degrees in Denver, I would wear my kirka. And people would be looking at me like I was crazy. Like, what are you doing? We were like outside running sprints. I got a kirka on. Yeah. And it helped though. You know, it was, I don't think I wore it other than
heat
when I was
conditioning,
competing. Yeah. Well, because you get used to it. It was hot down there, you know?
Yeah.
Especially, like, the higher you sat in the stands, you could, like, feel drastic temperature changes.
The humidity there and the moisture in some of those places. And then I've spent a lot of time in South America.
Yeah.
Colombia specifically, too, man. It's pretty wild.
Well, in the winter's just, because it's their winter, our summer.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's cold, it's just wet. And it rains every day. And which just adds to the humidity. There's just always moisture everywhere. But it was overall a great experience. You know, the street food was great. I think that one of the coolest things that happened was, so you asked about the refereeing. And it's subjective. You know, some people see one thing, other people see the other thing. Now, luckily, there is film review. But very rarely you're going to speak the same language as the ref, who probably doesn't speak the same language as the people at that table.
Yeah, so you're not going to be able to volley.
They're speaking with the signs that they are taught, you know. So we say it to each other. You have to score twice as many points if you want to win, because as the United States, you can kind of feel some animosity towards you.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it's very apparent, especially when like the day first starts and you're the first couple USA guys to go. Like there were times where I was scoring points and they would put it up on the board and then I would look over and they would take it off the board. And really? it was awful because this poor guy fought from Guatemala ended up taking the licking that I wanted to say to the refs, but instead they just let me beat this guy. I mean, it was. Yeah. I felt bad for him. Like even the commentator at one point was like, "They should stop this. Like they're doing like the referee is doing this to him." Like
now you guys
Zac.
have coaches are able to corner too, right?
You get one coach. Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to Bob Clark.
Yeah. Is Bob Denver based or a lot of the team Denver based or where?
So we're from all over the country. Bob and he's one of the coaches at NPR. And that's back east where I first started training in Langhorne. Shout out to Eric Purcell, owner of that gym. All the training partners there. That's kind of where I got my origin, and that's where I fell in love with training. You know, there's such a unique brotherhood that you form in combat sports, and I think it's so much different than every other sport because we're not throwing a ball to each other and having fun and we're beating the shit out of each other, and we're doing it for fun. You know, and like. You're not doing your friend any service by taking it easy on him because the guy he has to go up against isn't. So like you have to bring it every single day, and if you don't, you know, and if you don't, you're putting yourself at risk of getting hurt because someone else might be going that hard, and two, you're not helping your teammates. You know, so you know that Bob and them. That's kind of where the National Training Center is for USA Sambo. Mikhail, he's kind of the director for USA Sambo. He's former Soviet Union master of sport. He's
wow,
very, very, very talented, and he has a gym back there too. So that's kind of where the hub is for Sambo, but there's guys that train all across the country for it, and there's some big gyms. So
if somebody like myself wanted to watch more of it,
yeah,
I'm assuming you can find some of this information online or you know, we were talking a little bit before the podcast. You might be getting invited to Russia.
Yeah.
How would I watch that? And when is that happening?
So it's hard for me to contact people when I get down to wherever I am.
Uh-huh.
Not always, but typically I only have Wi-Fi or whatever where the hotel is. And when I'm preparing for a fight, I try to disconnect as much as I can from, because it's so easy to get distracted by your phone and think everyone's so connected when, like, really, if you turn it off, how many people are you really talking to in the day? And,
exactly.
You know, and it's not that you don't miss them, and it's not that you know, but you can get a lot more done. So I was able to stay a little more focused. But so basically, FIAS is the organizing body. If you go to their website, you can find basically all the tournaments. They have videos. They have some on YouTube as well. They are who help make us an Olympic sport. They run all the tournaments. They're kind of like the IBJFF of Samba.
Okay.
They are based out of Switzerland, but you know the biggest sponsors.
Anna, can you look up that website for us too, just so we can?
FIAS.
FIAS.
FIAS, and it might say international. It might be FIAS International.
Heard chef. Let me pull it up here.
Oh yeah, I throw it down in the kitchen.
Sport, y'all. Sambo.sport. Send it. Go find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, check it out. They got everything on here. They got events. They got videos. They got some blog posts.
Perfect. Colombia, how was that experience? Did you get any time, or are you guys training nonstop, or did you get to go out and immerse yourself in a little bit of the culture there?
So, one of the main reasons I'm not pursuing MMA is because I worked hard in school. I like my brain, and I don't, you know, there's some fucking dangerous guys out there, and when you're wearing 4-ounce gloves, you're gonna get hit in the head, you know.
Yeah.
So because of that, when we got there, I flew into Bogota and then took about a 4.5-hour bus ride with our team doctor and the guy that competed in my weight class in sport, George and Brett. We had to go. Bogota is not much lower than like Georgetown, so it's a mountain town.
Yeah.
Drive up out of there, and then we drove through the plains, like sandwiched in between the Andes. It was amazing. I don't know how they built those roads.
It's insane.
They're so high above like the water and the trees. It was incredible. So we drove like 4.5 hours to this small town, and this is the highest weight class I'd ever competed at. So when we got there, I had 30 minutes before they started weigh-ins, and they never even let me check my weight.
Really?
So I was fortunate that I didn't cut weight, because if I did, that would have been, you know, I'm a big proponent now of not cutting weight. And I've kind of preached that even when I was a college coach, you know. There's guys like David Taylor who've proven that, like, if you can just focus on training, then you're going to be better than if you spent 50% of the time focused on training and 50% cutting weight, you know.
Kind of makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But so we competed. Other than that, like, the next morning I fought. The next day we had a tournament again. We were spending basically all day at the gym. So I had no real time to explore Colombia. I kind of treat them like business trips.
Yeah.
You know, like, I worked 8 days straight leading up to it. I worked all day, went home, packed my bag, and then got on a flight, and then traveled all day, made weigh-ins, fought the next day, cheered my team on the next day, fought again, and the next morning flew out. You know, I got in at 3 a.m. on Tuesday and was at my boxing gym.
You must have been smoked, man.
I was at my boxing gym by 11 a.m. I slept for a bit, and then I was like, I'm gonna go get some training. And
hence the gold medal, right? That's
yeah,
what you gotta have. You gotta have that sort of mentality, I would imagine, to compete.
And I break it up too. I go to a climbing gym a few days a week too, and I might hit the bag, but, you know, Sambo, there's a lot of gripping, so that finger strength you get and the core strength, and I think that the focus that you have to have when you're on the wall too, because you're just you and the wall, and if you decide to think about anything else, you'll slip. If you think too much about how much it hurts, you'll let go, you know. So you just have to kind of find that state of zen, and that's been a big part of my recent success in fighting too. Is I used to take it so personal, the fighting.
So using rock climbing as a cross training for Samba, that makes a lot of sense for grip. I mean, jiu-jitsu, all that sort of stuff is. Yeah. It all comes down to grip.
Yeah,
and calluses sometimes, especially when you're dealing with a gi.
Oh yeah,
it's like you can get rug burn in spots where you never even thought you could, like between your fingers and shit. Like
but yeah, it's I do other things on top of that. Like, I don't train like a typical fighter.
Yeah,
you know, I don't go for these long runs. I don't spend 6-7 hours in the gym. I'll go to the gym for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and I'll get after it, and it'll be productive. And for cardio, I mountain bike, I climb mountains. You know, I'm not running hills. I'm climbing to the top of a 14er as fast as I can, and it's painful, and I push through it. You know, I'm kind of a psycho in the sense that I never bring water with me either. Like, I'm
really?
Like, no, it encourages me to get done faster.
If you're thirsty, you might get down the mountain a little faster.
I pick up a pebble, I'll like throw it in my mouth so I have like a little something to like, and then, but yeah, I'm like, how fast can I do this?
Wow.
My girlfriend, when she does something, she gets mad because, you know, when we go, I don't go as fast as I can. We do it together, but I never bring water, and I always end up drinking some of hers. So, but
yeah. So I just want to run through this real quick for our listeners that don't know you and maybe don't follow you or just listening to us for the first time. 2019, you were a bronze medalist in the Pan Am, right?
Yep, Combat Samba.
Oh, yeah, Combat Samba. And then you took 5th in the world?
Mm-hmm. Later that year.
In
South Korea, yeah.
Awesome. And then 2020, was there a pause because of COVID? I mean, obviously.
Yeah, so they didn't have the Pan American Games, and then they kind of threw together the World Championships last minute. And, you know, I've competed at that level. It's not something that you train for last minute. You know, when I just got back, and I'm already back in the gym. I'm already, like, mentally and physically preparing myself for November, because that's the type of preparation that needs to go into it. In a lot of these other countries, Sambo is a professional thing for them. Russia, their Sambas get paid. Their housing is covered. Like, and it happens for most countries. They have opportunities because of this. The World Championship aired in like 80 countries last year, or in 2019. I think it was like 87, 88 countries, and most of them don't have many channels. So that's what they were watching all day. Right. You know, so it's cool, and you get a collection of, you know, at the Worlds. You know, you get guys from the UFC, you get guys from M1, you get guys from Glory, you get Olympian wrestlers, you get Olympian judo because they're going to represent their team, and they all train together. So if there's an opening or somebody gets hurt, they're like, oh, I'll go, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, the guy that took 2nd in my weight class in 2019 he's like a 6th ranked UFC in bantamweight.
That's awesome.
So it's a high level, you know. So. Yeah. So I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to it. You know, I think that if I can bring the same game and preparation that I brought down here, and just stay in these guys' faces. And my objective is to do damage early, and then from there they're kind of reacting because they don't want to get hurt anymore.
How could a company or somebody endorse you if they wanted to? Is there any way to do that?
So I'm actively looking for that. The way to do that would be to contact me through Instagram or my email, which is just my last name, first name @ymail.com. We can post something about my Instagram.
We'll put a link. We'll put a link to your Instagram for sure. And then if you have a website or something like that, or want to build one or whatever, dude, we'll link that up. But if anybody's listening to this, man, go support Zac, man. This guy works fucking full-time job, however you can. If you're a company, CBD company out there, there's a ton of those in this state. Athletic company, maybe you just want to represent your school or whatever, right? Like anything helps, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, it does. And if it's a big enough company, USA Samba could use help too, because it's not just me. There's plenty of high-level athletes that need help to go to these tournaments. And we're trying to grow. Like I told you, we want to win the Olympics. We have high aspirations of ourselves.
Budweiser would be the ideal sponsor, right?
Let's get after it. You know what I mean? We're hard workers, and everybody, we proved that down there. Just by the end of the tournament, we had the entire gym chanting USA. Whereas, like I said in the beginning, we felt animosity, and by the end, it was everybody wanted pictures with us. The Russian Federation for Sambo invited us out to dinner after the last night, and that's kind of how the invite to the invitational for Russia came up, and there was
how epic is it? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when you're on the podium and hearing the national anthem played,
dude, it's nostalgic. It's like you feel like you're at home, but you're looking around and it's like, nah, it's pretty cool, And like I said, that's why our goal. We want to go over to Russia. We want to win, and we want to hear that national anthem played in Moscow.
That's so I got to ask. I want to dive into that a little bit, and I don't know how much you can speak on because it hasn't formally happened yet, but they've never invited an American to Russia or to compete in the European.
At least in this event, it's very it's like an all-star. It's you're gonna get a bunch of Russians. You're gonna get some guys from some of the Stan countries, Uzbekistan, Dagestan. You get some Ukrainian, and maybe a Mongolian, something like because Mongolia and Kazakhstan they've got some savages.
Oh yeah.
So, and I think that's something cool too. Like at the World Championships, you have guys coming up to you and asking to work out with you, and you don't speak the same language, but you do. You just got to grab each other,
right?
You throws are the same, punches are the same, and then you just exchange cool, nice, that's the whole conversation. You can work out somebody for 30 minutes, So we'll see if I can be invited this year. I know it's probably a tall ask, but I go out and dominate the World Championships and continue to push. After this year, I'd like to compete in Sambo 4 times a year. Right now, I'm only doing it twice. Yeah. I'd like to go to the African Games, and I'd like to go to the President's Cup, which is on one of the British Isles. It's an invite only. It's an invite only tournament for the countries, not just an individual. But I think that if we keep doing what we're doing on the international scene, they'll invite us. And it's a good chance to go head-to-head with Russia. Russia's always there, too. So, it's going to be a fun journey these next few years.
That's awesome. Why did you get into Sambo, and how did you discover it?
Eric Purcell, he's who owns MPR. He got passionate about it out of high school and carried it into his gym that he runs there. And, Bob's there. Bob's martial arts Hall of Fame type guy. He knows every discipline. He knows every person. He's like an international man in mystery. We go to all these countries, and you got people from all over the world that are coming up to him. He can speak broken of almost a dozen languages. I'm sure. He's an internet. He's a cool guy. So he's kind of our general that takes us in. So between him and Eric, they kind of inspired me to do it. I started going because it's a good way to learn how to control people, especially in fighting. You get that cheat because you can hold on to a kurka, but you still learn how to control. And
So is a Kirka considered the gi top? Is that? But that's
so the difference would be
Russian, I guess.
no. So the difference would be that the belt is actually sewn into the jacket.
Oh, it is.
So
Okay.
so you use it as a grip. It gets checked before you go out.
Yeah.
So that's why when the Venezuelan was untying his belt, it's like, bro, like you're it's like bending over to untie your shoe, you know. So
I didn't know they were sewn in. That's a whole nother ball game, right?
well, and then there's modified shoulder grips, so you can like stick your hand in and like grip guys up. Some of them have a back that you can grab too.
Okay. So it's not like a traditional jiu-jitsu gi.
And there has to be a lot more there has to be a lot more baggage like underneath. Like they stick before you go out there. Like for fighting, they check you got a mouthpiece, a cup. They make sure that your belt is in, and then they check to see if they can put their whole arm in your sleeve.
Really?
Yeah, because they're gonna guys are gonna grip you, wrap you up, and then you know that's my biggest weakness in sambo is the judo side of it. I'm not used to guys grabbing me and throwing me through the air. You know.
Right.
You know, in combat sambo, I'm like 13-2 or something like that right now, and my only losses are to world champions. And you know, I learned a lot from both of them. The one was why I took third at Pan Am's from Trinidad Tobago. He's an awesome pro MMA fighter, and you know, I clipped him good with a couple strikes, and it brought out a side of him that my coaches told me to avoid. You know, they say whatever you do, you don't try to get in a striking fight with Jamaicans or any Dominicans. You know, Trinidad, because those island guys, they can fight.
Yeah.
And they'll bite
they
down.
They grow up fighting.
Yeah, they're going to bite down, and they're just going to throw down with you. Like, I have wrestle them, you know.
Right.
And I got caught up in the striking. My striking wasn't great at the time, and he caught me with knocked me down twice and beat me 8-0. And it was the first time I'd ever been hurt like that in a fight, you know. I remember the first time he knocked me down, I stood up, and I bounced straight up, and I never experienced the 10 count before. So, like, right away, I'm like, I'm good. Which you take the full time. You have the full time.
Right.
You know, just take it and then go out and be fine. I remember I still felt like I was falling through the air, like I wasn't even in my body, you know. And then he hit me with a beautiful spinning back kick to the head. And, like, I had long hair, and it, like, knocked my ponytail, like, out of my thing, and I went down, and I was like, and I popped right back up, but, like, points I lose, and, like, he puts his arm around me. We're walking off, and he's like, "How did you get back up?" And I was like, "I don't know, man." Yeah, I was like, "I don't know, man." And like, but that's what I mean about like sambo. Like literally, like, you know, if somebody gets hurt, I'm trying to help them up. Like I remember at the World Championships, I watched this guy from Cameroon, 100+ kilos. You're talking about a huge human being, and he starts blasting this dude with leg kicks, and destroys this guy's knee, and wins. But the guy's so big that like it's taken a bunch of doctors to try to help him up, and they got to walk him all over. Dude, this guy from Cameroon just scoops him up like a baby and walks him over to the doctor.
Wow.
And you're just like, you know, that's so cool. You know what I mean?
I just destroyed you, and now like
exactly. It's like, I'll hurt you in competition, but then, because it's kind of like rugby.
It's not Conor McGregor laying there with a broken leg talking shit still, right?
Yeah, not at all. You're humbled. You're like, hey, congratulations. It means a lot for you and for your country to have won. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'll get you next time. So when I lost to him, it encouraged me. Like, I remember I went home and I hung those gloves on my shelf, and I looked at them all the time. And I spent 2 years working on my boxing, and now I think my hands have... I'll let them speak for themselves, you know, when I get out there. You know, I'm not going to portray myself as a boxer, but if you stand in front of me long enough, you're going to get hit, you know.
Right.
So
you know, your amateur career, or your amateur title career, I should say.
Yeah.
Multiple titles, man.
Yep.
And you hung that up, or you've hung it up completely, you think, at this point?
I'd like to do a couple pro fights. There's still nothing like walking to the cage, man. Right. That's a thrill like sex, man. It's like, wow, like this is we're about to throw down, and this is what I've been thinking about. You know, the thing with me and MMA is that I think about the guy every day. I hate that. I hate like thinking about him in the morning, like,
because
hey,
you know what's coming.
Yeah, it's like that bully at recess that walks up to you and says, "We're fighting in the parking lot after school." All day, all you think about is the parking lot after school.
Right.
When that bell rings, you know, and it's the same thing for us, but we do it for 6-8 weeks. You're just like every day. You're like, what is he doing? Did he already work out this morning? shit, did he run 3 miles? I got to run 4. You know, how long did he spar? What, you know, and it's constantly on my mind. And with Sambo, it's not like that. I don't know. Now you start to learn. The more you go, the more you like meet guys. But it's a gauntlet. There's not always going to be the same representatives from countries. You're going to get different guys and girls, you know. But I just go there and I'm like, I know these countries are there, you know, and it's just let's do it. It's a different approach because I know I'm getting in more fights.
Yeah.
Like I'm fighting 3 or 4 guys that day. I can't get caught up on one guy. So I think I will do a couple more, mostly because, you know, RJ started wrestling. My uncle, he kind of like started it for our family. I wrestled next, and my cousins and my brother. And
yeah, you come from a wrestling family, and that's how I know you, man.
But RJ's who started it. It's not like it's like this lineage of wrestlers. It was like my uncle, then it was me, and then like progressively we've gotten better, and we've gotten better because we want to be better than the guy before us. It's just like this, you know, it's a competition, but it's like all out of respect. You know, so like I wanted to be better than RJ. That's what made me want to
and
be
he
an
was
All-American.
a high-level collegiate
Dude,
wrestler.
You know, he was great in high school. Then he wrestled D1 in college. You know, so I was like, shit, I gotta wrestle in college, and I gotta be an All-American. So then I became an All-American, and then, you know, my cousin was wrestling, and I think he was better than I was. But then our younger cousin, the one I coached, his name's Kyle. The one I coached is Tim. The one, his brother's Kyle. He's going to UPenn. He was an outstanding high school wrestler. So, you know, it's kind of runs in the family a little bit, wrestling. But
yeah, no, that's dope, man. Great people, man. Your whole family, I know a lot of them, and just good people.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's dive into your background a little bit, man. We are burning through the time here, man.
I don't know what time it is.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to talk about your background a little bit. You know, you were a D3 All-American. You coach collegiate wrestling, you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And, you know, 4 titles as an amateur in mixed martial arts.
Yep.
Purple belt in jiu-jitsu, right?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Chasing that brown.
Yeah. I hear you, man.
Yeah.
But where did all this start? I mean, you kind of mentioned RJ.
Yeah.
And it starting there. And then, but it takes some drive and some grit and some ambition to go do all the shit that you've done, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
I appreciate that. So, you know, when I was in high school, my whole life I was a subpar athlete. I had heart. I wanted to be good. I just wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sophomore year in high school, one of my friends killed himself, and he was on the wrestling team, and I found out at a wrestling tournament.
Wow.
And I found out because he was supposed to be there, and our coach was like adamant that we were all on time, and he wasn't there. And then my one buddy ended up telling me because his mom worked in like the guidance counselor's office, so she kind of knew. She told him, he told me, and I remember just crying and crying and crying, and then we couldn't keep it from the guys. Everybody's just crying. We're sitting in this high school gym in the middle of a tournament crying, and I was one of the first ones to have to wrestle afterwards. And I'm getting ready to go out there, and this kid that I'm wrestling, he's talking to this other guy, and he's like, "Look at this pussy. He's crying before I even beat him." And I was like,
dude.
oh man. And I had never felt the way that I felt, and I went out there and it wasn't a wrestling match. Right away I got warned for DQ, like to get DQ'd, and I don't know, after that I just always had this chip on my shoulder when I wrestled, and I was like, you know what? If there's ever gonna be a time to be the aggressor and to let everything that's in you, it's during from whistle to whistle or buzzer to buzzer, you know. So that kind of fueled me through high school, and then, you know, college. I was good in my first 2 years, but then I got a DUI and kept getting in fights with the football team, and you know, I wasn't doing well, so I dropped out of school. I moved out here, and my aunt, RJ's wife, they were living in Fairplay, and I remember she said, you know, so what do you want to do with the rest of your life? And I was like, I don't know. I'm 19. I'll live out here, you know. She's like, well, you're not going to be a ski bum, and you're definitely not going to live here and do nothing. And she gave me 2 weeks to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life. And I remember time ticking.
And she's a hardcore woman to do it.
Yeah,
too,
dude, talk about a badass that sets goals and crushes them, you know. And her and RJ are the same, and that's why their kids are killing it too, you know. But yeah, she told me that, and I remember like a week goes by, and I haven't even thought about it. Where I'm working with RJ, and he's like, "Yo, so what are you gonna do?" And I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "Well, dude, she's serious, man." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? Like, you know, you're my uncle. Like, I can stay, right?" He's like, "No, she tells you gotta go." And I'm like, "Shit, I guess I gotta start figuring this out."
Right.
So then I was like, all right, I had an interest in environment, so I started like figuring that out, and then I started doing housekeeping. And I remember watching this guy. He was the last guy I beat in high school. I took third. The next year he went 50-0, won a state title, #1 recruit in the nation, and he's on ESPN wrestling in the national finals, and I'm scrubbing toilets. And 2 years had gone by, and I was like, I got to fix my life. So I was housekeeping. I started going to night classes. I fixed my GPA. And then I actually transferred back to the school I dropped out of because I just didn't like the way that they talked about me back there because I was a fuck up, you know. So I went back, switched from criminal justice to biology, like raised my GPA, like try to be involved with the community, and then, you know, became the All-American and stayed on the coach and try to guide some of the young knuckleheads to make a little less poor decisions than I did, you know. And then, you know, fighting just kind of was a natural progression. It was never something I thought about doing. And then I went to the gym and was good at it, you know. And then I still do like, there's nothing like it. There's like that. There's a thrill to it, you know. But when
you've definitely found your niche, man. Like, I enjoy watching you fight. Like, I followed you through some of the Sparta stuff, and was introduced, you know, to you through RJ, and like I said earlier, but yeah, man, I think it's great. This is awesome, sitting down and actually getting to know you, you know, because we've met before, but like to sit down and hear your backstory makes me even a bigger fan. So
I appreciate that, man. Yeah.
So where did you grow up exactly? Did you grow up in Pennsylvania or?
So I did. I moved around a bit. Okay. So I grew up in like New Jersey until 6th grade. And then I moved to Pennsylvania 7th through, you know, basically until I moved out here. I went to middle school, high school, and then college all in Bucks County. The gym I trained at back there was in Bucks County. But when I came out to Colorado, I just fell in love with the mountains, man. Yeah. It became home really quick. Like, it was like, wow, like this.
And that's kind of the side that I know of you is, you know, you're a big outdoorsman. I had no idea that you had the degree that you have. Mm-hmm. So it's I'm screwing this up already. I'm butchering it. Environmental policy.
So my bachelor's is in biology with an environmental emphasis, and then my master's is in public policy pertaining to sustainability in the environment. I'm super passionate about water access and water rights. You know, I think it's a shame that you can live in one state and another state and have completely different rights to water. You know, it's something that we as Americans take for granted, just being able to turn on a faucet or go to the grocery store, or like, you know, you're in Colombia for 4 days, you know what you miss real quick? Cold water. You know,
clean water,
access to water, because you're only drinking bottled water. So like, we were walking around with cases of bottled water. So it's like, I got into it because I remember I was laying in bed and I was sucking weight and I was so tired, and I was just like, my tongue was sandpaper. And I always think like, how many people are doing what I'm doing right now? So I looked up how many people are thirsty, and it was 834 million people. And I was like, fuck. I'm like,
that is insane.
I'm like, I have a fridge downstairs full of shit that I bought at the store that I'm just not drinking because I can't till tomorrow. And from then on, my passion changed. And ultimately, I'd like to, right now I'm a licensed water operator. Ultimately, I'd like to start a nonprofit that goes overseas and helps develop water resources in like developing nations.
Have you checked out Justin Wren's Fight for the Forgotten?
I love it, man.
What a fucking awesome guy, too.
He really is. I read his book and I posted a picture after I finished it, and my man reached out and like said thanks for the read. I'm like, dude, he's even cooler.
He's super in touch. Like, we've messaged a few times before. Just he's a very accessible guy and a loving guy, and just he wears his emotions on his sleeves, man. And he's a beast. Yeah, he is. Like, he checks all the boxes in my book. You know, like,
couldn't agree more.
Just a fucking great guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what made me think of that. But that's awesome, man. Have you talked about hooking up with him at all? Or I
reached out to him when he had messaged me about the book, and then we haven't followed up yet. It's something I'd like to do, but there's certain things I need to
focus on your fight career a little bit right now.
Yeah, so my goal between now and 2024 is obviously to win a couple world titles and to prepare for these Olympics, but I also want to get my PhD. So when I'm done with that, then I can move on to another set of of goals.
Just crushing
but for
everything,
now,
aren't you?
I mean,
Oh yeah, I'm just casual.
it keeps me going.
Yeah.
You know, it's something. You know, I struggle with mental health myself, and staying busy and setting goals, it helps get me through the day, because I'm like, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, and I spend a lot of time in my own mind because I'm constantly moving to the next thing. Mm-hmm. But I stay focused on what I need to do, and I get it done. You know.
And I think that there's a ton of people that could benefit that have mental health issues or depression. And I'm speaking for myself right now.
Yeah.
Just the stuff that I've been through. I've found that if I'm having a bad day or a bad morning, if I go to the gym for 30 minutes, that's all it takes, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
hit a heavy bag for 15 minutes and then lift some weights or whatever, right? Just get the blood flowing.
Totally.
I'd prefer to spend 2 hours there, but 30 minutes might be all that I have in that day, you know, between the podcast and kids and just life.
Totally.
Right? But that changes my state of mind and puts me in a good mood for the rest of the day. And that's why when I wake up, I work out.
Yep.
That's my regimen.
Yeah.
You know, whether I'm in a hotel room and it's just body weight shit or whatever, which has really been sucking lately. Like the little bit of traveling I've done. Yeah. I feel like these hotels and stuff are using COVID as an excuse.
Oh, yeah.
Like to not have certain amount of staff on. Like now they only clean your room every 3 days. Oh, the pool's not open. The gym's not open. Like, it's like, well, fuck, what is it? Like, you know, but yeah, it's just, that helps me tremendously.
Yeah, it helps me as well.
Yeah. So I urge anybody to try that over pharmaceutical drugs.
Oh, yeah.
Any sort of alcohol. Try just to exercise, you know, like that's a big thing. Or get outside. You don't even have to exercise. Just get outside and walk.
Literally just go for a walk.
Just go for a walk,
Feel the sun, feel the grass. I mean, I spend a tremendous amount of time outside. Like, if we're as busy as I am, you know, I've camped, you know, all over Colorado, all over Utah. Like this year alone, like I find the time, and I'll get my training in there. I'll go for a 15-mile bike ride, and I'll go bouldering, or we'll go whitewater kayaking and carry the kayaks, or like I find ways to make a workout, and I can shadowbox anywhere, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not big on sparring. I do it, but I'm not big on it because I don't want to practice fight. That's not right. If I'm fighting, I'm fighting, and you'll know it's a fight. But I don't want to like half hit you and you try to hit me hard, because like I'm never gonna go 100% in sparring. It's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna go harder than 75%, because once I get past 75%, there's a chance that I end up going to 100, and I didn't mean to. So
that's a hard thing to balance, even when you're rolling jiu-jitsu or whatever, man. That's a hard thing.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like, okay, let's just go, you know, 50%, and then by a minute and 13 seconds in, you're fucking 110.
Yeah,
right?
ripping each other's heads off. Yeah, because the ego takes over.
Yeah,
you know,
a little bit. Yeah, I know you're a huge outdoor enthusiast. I know that you spend a ton of time outside.
Yeah, definitely.
I know sometimes you just check out and get off the grid a little bit, right?
When I first moved to Colorado, I was living on like various dispersed camping sites while working. Yeah, there's nothing like sleeping under the stars, waking up in the morning with the birds and the insects, and you know, you can feel the warmth of the sun. Like, you know, by 8 o'clock, if you're still sleeping in your tent, it's hot because the sun's warming you up. I never sleep that late, but there's something about it, the sounds and the smell of the fire. You know, I spent a lot of time in the backcountry after I finished my undergrad, and I think it was during that time that I started thinking about martial arts. And you know, I recommend to anybody to go into the backcountry. Just pack a backpack, you know, do it right. Don't be like an Alex.
Get some education.
Don't do a Chris McCandless and just disappear into the Alaskan bush. You know, like do some education. Like, and even if it's just camping for a weekend, don't bring music. Don't bring any entertainment. Just go, eat what you need to eat. You don't have to have any more than that. Find ways to occupy your time and like get comfortable with yourself.
There's stuff that you can harvest too. I mean, we've done episodes on harvesting mushrooms and that sort of thing. There's a ton of information out there. If you look at Harvest, Colorado, I mean, there's shit out there that you can eat. We've had Donnie Dust on. He actually made us these arrowheads.
Oh, that's sweet.
But he makes his own stone tools. He was like on a loan. Like, The dude literally goes out in a loincloth sometimes in the
That's
summer
sick.
months and like flip flops,
Yeah.
that he's made himself.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. I love walking around the backcountry in the nude, man.
Yeah.
It's like raw.
Yeah.
Finding alpine lakes, it's just you, and you're
Yeah.
like, fuck it, let's just do it.
There's nothing like taking a shower in a waterfall, man. Like when you're
yeah.
elk hunting or something like that, and it's because September can get hot.
Oh yeah.
And there's been times where like you're hoofing it, man. Where these
Right.
elk are at are like deep, dark holes,
Yeah.
or they're going over the top of above tree line, right?
Right.
So like, there's been times where it's like I get to the other side and you find a shady, northern exposure where there's just a little waterfall.
Right.
All the cammy's coming off, man, and I'm taking a dip, man, just to cool off, and then it rejuvenates you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
There's something about it. Kyle Dake is he's a big name in American wrestling. He said a big change in his routine was like connecting with the earth. Like he goes outside barefoot, walks around, and like feels the actual like energy. And like there's studies out there that say like that disconnection from the earth through like shoes and houses and all that stuff does have like a psychological effect on like your body. Like it.
I'm sure.
You know.
Truly.
Yeah.
I mean, me just being in Chicago, right? So like I was in Chicago. I was helping out with some various projects there, doing some podcast stuff as well, but I was just inside.
Yeah.
And like fucking for too long. Like I would get outside and go walk the street.
Right.
But even then, like just being home, but just being out today,
Yeah.
the little bit that I got outside and was able to take the dog and just go to the river and like, she's got a little duck decoy thing.
Yeah.
Throw the duck for her, take her for a walk. Was able to work out in my own gym. It's
Right.
like, I feel so much better, man. I started like, I was only 3 days in.
Yeah.
3-day trip. And I was like depressed, bro. Depressed.
Yeah, I know. That's what happened
like,
when
what the fuck?
COVID hit. Everybody
Yeah.
got locked in the house. It's the same thing,
Yeah.
Now everybody can out. Like traveling to Colombia, I always park at one of the lots and
Mm-hmm.
catch the plane. First time I'd ever seen the lot full. I just it took me over an hour of waiting in the line for the shuttle just because everybody's out and traveling.
Oh, it's pandemonium at the airports
Yeah.
right now, man.
Yeah.
Like everybody is like,
Yeah.
fuck this, we're out.
Yeah.
We're going
right,
wherever.
rightfully so. Live your lives,
Yeah.
man.
I'm glad it's
Airlines got to
happening.
get better with their services.
Yeah. I think a big part of it is I don't think that they expected it to come back this
As
fast.
quickly as it did, yeah.
Like every company. And I bitched about the hotel thing, but I think that all those sort of industries are suffering because
Yeah.
they didn't have huge margins to begin with, right?
Right.
Like there's so much competition in that. I mean, it's not like they're not making money, but they had to scale way, way back.
Yeah.
And I think the only airline that's actually doing okay right now is maybe Southwest.
Yeah.
And they're packed. And it's
Yeah.
because of their model,
Yeah.
But
Hey, free check bags, you can change
Yeah.
flights. I'm flying Southwest to Hawaii in a couple weeks. So.
are you? It's
Yeah.
dope that they go there. I have a couple
Yeah.
buddies that fly for them. Super happy as employees there and
Nice.
stuff. So,
Sweet.
yeah.
I swear it's not a Southwest ad. We just fly with them a lot.
Yeah. Free
So
bags, man.
when you said you got out in the backcountry quite a bit, did you spend multiple days
Oh, yeah.
back? Yeah. Just
yeah.
a backpack.
So,
Where's some of the spots that you've been?
Yellowstone, Glacier, Olympic National Parks.
Oh man,
You
the
know, I
national
spent-
parks are so dope, man.
Yeah.
Those 3 that you named are like probably top 3 for
Top
me.
three.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the backside of Yosemite too. If you haven't done that,
I haven't
that's
been there, and I
epic.
want to get there
Yeah.
so bad. I'm a big John Muir fan. So,
Same.
yeah, when I was in between Yellowstone and Glacier, I did it all on the same trip, like right after. So, spent 7 days in the backcountry in Yellowstone, and it was incredible. Ran out of water on day 3. Only had a life straw for 4 days. It was an experience, And then we get out, jump in the car, and then straight up to Glacier. And we stopped at a random Jiffy Lube in Helen, Montana to I needed an oil change. And this guy comes in from the back, and he's like, "Oh, Zach, can you come out?" So I'm like, "Fuck, my car broke down in fucking Montana." And I go out there, and he's like, "Do you know who this is?" I'm like, "No." And it's John Muir's grandson is fucking working at a Jiffy Lube in Helen, Montana. And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, he's like, "This is yours, right?" Because my John Muir book was like right there in the front seat. And I still have the oil stains on the book from them picking it up and being like, I'm like, "Oh, fuck my book," but whatever.
God.
Yeah, it was a cool experience. And then Glacier was just amazing. And then Olympic is, I
haven't spent enough time in Olympic. Did you spend some time there?
spent I was supposed to stay there longer, You know, 3 or 4 days. It's a cool park because it's kind of like designed like a spider web, so you can't drive all around it. You have to drive out, drive around to drive back into the park because it's like super dense forest, and it's so unique. I mean, there's only one. It's a temperate rainforest. It's the only one in the world. It's like old growth forests. Like
it's wild. Man.
It's really cool. Yeah, well, yeah, definitely probably my favorite.
I love that there too, man. But Glacier's great. Yellowstone's amazing.
Yeah,
Grand Tetons is basically connected right to Yellowstone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a 5-mile gap in between that.
I've been up to Jackson twice in the last year.
Yeah.
Jackson's incredible.
Yeah, I love the Tetons. They're
it's
awesome.
not that far of a ride from here either, man. It's
Straight
pretty
shot.
easy. Yeah.
After I won my title in Wyoming last August, drove right up to Victor.
Straight there. Yeah.
'Cause, we were already in Cheyenne. We're like, why not? Drove up, stayed in Victor, and just like went over to the Tetons. There's a lot of really cool hiking.
You got to hit the
west.
Northern California stuff too, man.
I'm working my way west.
That whole area,
yeah,
for sure. What do you got coming up next, man? I know you're busy.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're busy training for the World.
Yep.
Right?
In November, we're heading to Uzbekistan. Okay. Yep.
Oh, that's in Uzbekistan.
Yes, sir.
Crazy.
Yeah.
How is the travel and all that? Is that on you?
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
So, you know, I really wouldn't have been able to even be in Colombia if I didn't, the family and friends that supported me, you know, because I have a good job, but it's something that you build into. So, you know, I don't make enough. I work for RJ part-time too. So I'm working 2 jobs. I also like my commute is 200 miles a day. That's if I don't go to the gym.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping 3 or 4 hours a night, you know, and have been since December.
With me.
Yeah, but I love it because I'm awake anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I don't sleep much. The best sleep I get is when I go camping, you know.
Yeah.
Fall asleep early, looking at the stars, wake up early, and I'm like, all right, let's get after it, you know. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm at. So Worlds, and then maybe I'll do an MMA fight in between now and then, but honestly, I really want to just focus on this and build on it. And you know, the Invitational that's in Russia, that's a winner gets $15,000. So even if I don't get invited this year, the fact that opportunities like that are going to start presenting themselves, you know, it's more fun to me than Sambo or than MMA. We wear headgear too. We wear shin guards, and it's like, you know, we're
a little bit more protection,
and we're still throwing heat. Like, don't get me wrong, but it encourages you to throw even harder.
It's exciting to watch, man. It is an exciting sport to watch.
It's a complete blast,
especially if you have any sort of wrestling background or you know, mixed martial arts at all. You can get behind it.
I'll post some of my highlights probably tomorrow from the tournament that I put together. They were all pretty quick fights. I think that neither one of my first opponents lasted longer than like 90 seconds. And then in the finals, I think it was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But there was a lot of like pauses and stuff because he didn't like the beating that he was taking, so he's trying to play the game a little bit.
Right.
You know, when I finished him, it was 6-3, and his point had come from. They said I punched him in the back of the head. Watched the replay. It was very clear to the side of the ear, but it is what it is. And then I got lazy when I was behind him, and instead of pushing him out of bounds, the scoring subjective, so he kind of like just fell to his hip, and I fell with him. And then I like exploded through the gut wrench and like threw him out of bounds, but they gave him 2 points. So when I stood up, it was 4-3, and I was like, and I said, you can be kicking guys' ass and not really be winning on the scorecard.
Right.
So from there on, I was like, you know what? Now this guy's got to, you know, I finished him probably within 40 seconds. Yeah, you know, but.
Oh, that's great, man. Have you done podcasts before? Are you up to do more podcasts?
I'm totally down, man.
Wait, this is your first one?
Yeah, this is great, man. Thanks for coming here.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. We're just hanging out.
Yeah,
man.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So, well, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. We've been at it for well over an hour now, and Zach, this has been a lot of fun, man. You're always welcome back here.
Appreciate it.
Let's get you on a virtual one if you want before your next match or whatever.
Yeah.
No matter where you're at in the world, dude. I'll wake up at 2:00 in the morning or something to talk to you if you want. And go follow Zach on Instagram, all that sort of stuff. Let's take a little bit of time for you to drop that. I don't know if you have a website or Insta.
My Instagram is just the Ginger Ninja. That's my fight name.
Yeah.
Plenty of people say they're the Ginger Ninja, but there's only one the Ginger Ninja. Okay. So You can find me on Instagram, Zac Haynes on Facebook. I don't really do any of the other socials.
Okay.
But find me on there, and we can link up.
Yeah, absolutely. Go support Zac. Go check it out. Check out Samba. It's a cool sport. Anna, how we doing back there?
Everything looks great, y'all.
All right.
Sweet.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Zac, thank you again for your time, bro.
Yeah,
this has been a lot of fun.
I appreciate it.
And we'll talk at you later.
Definitely.
All right, see you.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Mountainside Podcast. If you haven't had a chance to do this already, please take a moment, follow, like, subscribe, or rate on whatever platform you catch the Mountainside Podcast at. Also, if you'd like some more information on upcoming episodes, safety tips, access to all of our affiliates, and all the badass discounts that we get here at the Mountainside Podcast, check out themountainsidepodcast.com. We wanted to let you know that the Mountainside Podcast is now available on Patreon. If you'd like access to bonus footage, behind-the-scenes content, ad-free listening, and much more, simply find the link in our bio or visit patreon.com/themountainside.